Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously fascinating tactical battle, the August 1st NWSL matchup between the Seattle Reign and Bay FC. Let me tell you, this wasn't just your run-of-the-mill regular season game. It was a masterclass in tactical adjustments, in-game chess moves, and sheer psychological resilience. We're going to look at exactly how a game's energy can just completely flip on its head.
Now, you might be wondering, how does a 2-0 blowout turn into an absolute nail-biter? It's a great question, and it really sets up the massive stakes of this match. In soccer, a 2-0 lead is notoriously dangerous, right? It can kind of breed complacency for the team that's up and total desperation for the team that's trailing. So today, we aren't just going to give you a play-by-play recap. We are going to trace the exact anatomy of this momentum shift. We'll dive into the tactical decisions and those individual moments of brilliance that turned what looked like a one-sided affair into an absolute thriller.
Okay, let's dive into this. 3, that's the magic number here. In literally just the first 13 minutes of this match, 3 chaotic, game-altering goals were scored. 13 minutes. I mean, before some fans had even bought their hot dogs at PayPal Park, the entire complexion of the game had been established, shattered, and completely rebuilt. To figure out how on earth that happened, we've got to look at how Seattle approached the opening whistle.
Which brings us to Phase 1, Seattle's opening blitz. Laura Harvey's Seattle Reign definitely did not show up to play a patient, feel-it-out kind of game. No way. They came out aggressively, totally overwhelming the young, 14th-place Bay FC squad right from the jump.
They ran a highly precise tactical plan that basically removed all the guesswork for the team. Step 1. Force Bay FC's defensive structure apart by pulling them to the near post. Step 2. Aggressively win those super crucial 50-50 second phase balls. And Step 3. Do the gritty work on the inline. By sticking strictly to this script, the Reign set up forward Maddie Darlene to just capitalize on the chaos. And she did, scoring 2 lightning-fast goals to put Seattle up 2-0.
And that brilliant execution brings us to a really insightful quote from Maddie Darlene herself. She said, "I am my best when I am in the 6-yard box." Took the emotions out of not scoring and just got down to the nitty-gritty. I mean, that right there is the mindset of a true striker. She actually mentioned how she fed off the energy that her defense's aggressive press was creating. She just stripped away all the emotional frustration of her previous scoring droughts, found her spot in that dangerous 6-yard box, and ruthlessly punished Bay FC's defensive lapses.
Let's move to the next part and see how this builds, bringing us to Phase 2. Bay FC sparks a comeback. Trailing 2-0 at home in the opening 10 minutes, that is a nightmare scenario. For a young, inexperienced squad, finding a way back into this game required a massive shift in their on-field awareness.
So, what's really interesting here is this concept of recognition. After their crazy aggressive high-press opening, Seattle's defensive shape momentarily shifted. They sat back, just a little bit. And Hannah Beadbar used this exact concept of recognition to notice all the space suddenly just sitting out in front of her. Instead of forcing a pass, she exploited it. She makes one miss, sets up a brilliant prep touch, and bends a monster top-shelf strike into the net in the 13th minute. Just like that, Bay FC found their lifeline.
That goal completely changed the dynamic of the match. It's like a tactical tug-of-war. On one side, you have the Seattle Reign leaning heavily on that aggressive high pressure. On the other side, Bay FC realizes, okay, we have to earn our space. They shifted to a much more tempo-oriented style, focusing on sustained possession to methodically break Seattle down, rather than playing into the chaos.
This tactical shift ushers us right into Phase 3, the grind and the heartbreak. Deep into the second half, Bay FC's sustained possession became this relentless grind, and it started forcing a massive defensive workload from Seattle. And you know, this grind almost resulted in the ultimate payoff. Listen to how this sequence plays out. Kennedy Fuller drives the ball forward in a brilliant 1v1. Then, we see these smart, fluid rotations with Carly Lima. The sustained build-up perfectly sets up Dorian Bailey, who fires the ball into the back of the net to tie the game. The stadium goes absolutely wild, but then the agonizing momentum swing strikes. An offside flag goes up. After an official review, the goal is devastatingly called back. Literally an absolute heartbreak for a team fighting tooth and nail to climb out of that hole.
Actually, while we are super zoomed in on the intense tactical dynamics on the pitch, it's wonderfully grounding to briefly look at the dynamics off of it. The broadcast beautifully highlighted the reality of motherhood in the NWSL. Players like Caprice Didasco and Emily Menges were up in the stands on maternity leave right alongside babies like little Eli, watching their moms play.
It's just this powerful reminder that while priorities shift for these incredible athletes when they become mothers, their fierce competitive drive on the field absolutely remains as strong as ever.
So the crucial point is, how does a coach manufacture a goal when team morale takes a hit, like that disallowed offside call? Coach Emma Coates had to look to her bench, where she actually had incredible depth at the number 9 position. I mean, look at these options. She had Carly Lima for power and pace in behind, Jarelli for pure physicality and playing back to goal, and Kira Berry for elite finishing ability. Coates desperately needed a legitimate equalizer, and she knew exactly which profile to call upon to get it done.
Fast forward to the 75th minute, and wow, did that decision pay off spectacularly. Kira Berry steps up and delivers a massive momentum shift. Leveraging her long history playing under Coach Coates and her assistant back at the U19 and U23 levels, Berry was perfectly in sync with the tactical vision. She scores a brilliant, perfectly executed set-piece equalizer. Guys, this wasn't just a lucky bounce, this was straight from the training ground. For the first time past the 60th minute, Bay FC has the momentum fully in their favor, and we are tied at 2-2.
So the stadium is rocking, the game is completely tied up. Which brings us to Phase 4, the ultimate super sub. Seattle head coach Laura Harvey knows she urgently needs cold, calculated veteran intelligence to exploit the spaces that a surging Bay FC is leaving behind them.
Enter the legend herself, Jess Fishlock. Now, to put the gravity of this substitution into perspective, Fishlock has played 14 years, literally every single NWSL season with the Reign. But she hadn't made an appearance in 2 weeks, sitting out since mid-July. She just watched 75 agonizing minutes of this specific match from the sidelines before finally being subbed into a deadlocked, incredibly high-stakes game. The pressure could not have been higher. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what makes veteran players so invaluable. Fishlock wasn't just hanging out resting on the bench, she was gathering sideline intelligence. Throughout the entire match, she was continuously consulting with Coach Harvey. They were actively mapping out exactly how Bay FC was shifting and precisely what pockets of space were going to open up late in the game. When Fishlock finally stepped onto the pitch, she wasn't guessing. She knew exactly where she needed to be.
Which leads us right to the thrilling climax. Almost immediately after coming on, Fishlock powers forward, finds that exact exploited space she had mapped out with her coach, and connects with a game-winning header. It is, for sure, as the broadcast perfectly called it, the definition of a super sub. In one decisive, highly intelligent moment, she proved her immense, unquantifiable value to the club, instantly regaining the lead for Seattle and finally silencing the Bay FC comeback.
So what does this all mean? It leaves us with this really fascinating, provocative thought to ponder. Does veteran intelligence always trump youthful momentum? Bay FC showed incredible heart, tactical adaptability, and passionate momentum to fight all the way back from a 2-0 deficit. But ultimately, it was the calculated, deeply studied veteran precision of Jess Fishlock and the Seattle Reign that outmaneuvered them to steal the win. It's such an interesting dynamic, and it's definitely going to spark endless curiosity as we watch these two teams continue their tactical battles in the NWSL. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and I will catch you next time.